How's the cameras? What about battery life? Is Snapdragon 7S Gen 4 good? Are the AI features good or just gimmick? How's the 3.5x telephoto? Macro? How's the media UFS 3.1? Cliff bar? 4K at front? Laggy? Overheating? How's the cliff bar? There has been a lot of question from a lot of people in the internet regarding Nothing's newest mid-range offering, Nothing Phone 4A. And that's for a good reason. This is for the first time Nothing has raised their price since the launch of Phone 2A, partly because of the RAM prices, partly because it has a lot more things to offer compared to Phone 3A. But people are justified to question the product and such. Like, how's the different aspect of this phone? And most important of it all, is it even worth it? So only because of this price increase, and a lot of people are like interested in this phone, we really have to dig deep into this phone. And for that, I have an idea. Hold on. All right, now let's try something. So I guess we have to get into the nitty gritty of it. Welcome to Nothing Phone 4S review. Alright, let's first get the design of the phone 4S, which is frankly the biggest aspect of any Nothing phone. And this time they have done something special. This phone actually looks super beautiful, and the whole internet agrees pretty much. While Phone 3's design was great, it felt like an iteration over Phone 2's design. But this time around, they definitely stepped up and outdid themselves, I feel like. And don't take my word for it. Check the whole internet. Everyone is raving about Phone 4S design when it was first revealed to us. Amazing. On Twitter, I was just reading comments, and everyone liked the design. It is genuinely good. Liked from the way this whole design has this almost industrial look to it. From the different curvature and this camera plateau, everything is so special and good. It's beautiful, genuinely. Like from the way this whole camera plateau looks with this whole metal ring type thing around it. It gives into this industrial look that they were going for this time, and I feel like they have nailed it this time. And even this little speaker piece looks good and adds to the contrast. And look what they have added this time around. Recording light along with the glyph bar. Also, the glyph interface this time around is called the glyph bar, and it is really good. The glyph bar, while being a little bit less fun than the Nothing Phone 3S and Phone 2S glyph interface, the glyph light interface, the glyph bar actually has more function built in. They actually focus this time around function over form. From now on, they will be putting more function on the A series and more form and creative stuff on their premium line, flagship, on their premium flagship line. So that's their goal, and that kind of reflects this thing right here. This clip bar looks a bit more boring than compared to glyph lights per se, but it has much more function because it has 9 array LED lights, and each of them has about 100 LEDs, so around 900 LEDs as far as I know. So, and they are individual controllers, so there are many more functions implementable in this clip bar, such as generative ringtones, essential notification, of course, timers, then some glyph clocks, such as those sand like sand clock type stuff, and some other interesting stuff that can be implemented. It basically opens up the Pandora's vault for creative stuff that can be achieved through one line. And I think it's pretty impressive. Also, recording lights finally here, and I am really happy it's here. It was there since phone 1 and phone 2 had it. When phone 2 were launched and it didn't have it, I was a bit disappointed, I'll be honest.
but they promised that they will give us this thing eventually. And I am glad they somehow figured out a way to implement the recording light in a way to preserve the red box they introduced to phone 2 while giving it the iconic red light. You know, they did it with phone 3, so I guess they back then they figured it out, but I'm glad it's in phone 4 anyways. This time around, they have used Panda glass protection on the back and and Corning Gorilla Glass Victor 7i on front. The sides are made of plastic, and here are the button layouts. This time we got volume rockers and power button on one side, and that's because the essential key has been moved to the right side. Uh, and that is because of the user complaints that essential key was being triggered too much. But I do have a criticism. I feel like that essential is positioned way too high, so in my right hand grip, it often feels like heavy to reach up and trigger the essential key, and that's why I haven't used essential key that much. So my suggestion, my feedback to nothing team is to lower the essential key next time around. Anyway, other things we got are a mic hole at the front, the USB-C charging port, the speakers. It has dual stereo speaker. Later on, I'll show you how it performs, and the scene ejector tool supporting dual nano SIMs. Overall, I really like Nothing's design this time around, and it's certainly a big upgrade over Nothing 3A. A plus for me in terms of design. I really love this phone. The display this time around features a 6.78-inch 120Hz LTPS display, and this is not unlike any other Nothing phones we have seen this display in the past. But what makes this display unique this time around that it actually features a proper 2160Hz PWM dimming mode. If you remember correctly, Nothing Phone 3 also had 2160Hz PWM dimming mode, but it got turned down to 960Hz because it was apparently messing with the colors. Fortunately, it didn't occur with display, and I'm thankful for that. And from what I've heard, this PWM dimming mode works really well. Also, this is a HDR10 display, so the colors really pop and everything looks really good in HDR in this phone. It is partly because of the HDR10 certification features a 4500 nits of peak brightness in HDR content. Although it is like in particular zones, in small zones at a time, still the HDR looks good. And in outdoor scenarios, it can push up to 1600 nits of peak brightness in outdoor scenarios. They have said to us. So overall, the display is really good. I have no complaints. And another thing for gamers that have tested and works really well is that this time around it features a 2500 Hz of touch sampling rate. So every interaction in games will feel good. I personally played Clash of Clans and not any other games. I don't really play games in my phone, but Clash of Clans felt really smooth with that 120 Hz refresh rate and that 2500 Hz of touch sampling rate. So good job, Nothing, this time around. Overall, this display is really good and better than previous Nothing phones. So I'd like to give it a A. That didn't really work, but still you get it. Now, every good display of a phone should have a good speaker system, and phone 4A is no exception. The speaker quality is really good. You know what? I'm gonna play it real quick. Hold on. Before that, I'm gonna cancel out the noise. The speakers are fantastic, but it is a bit imbalanced. I felt like that bottom firing speaker had more volume than top firing speakers. So the volume was a bit louder from this end compared to that. But overall it was good. So I'd like to give it a B plus.
Now let's talk about the cameras. The phone 4A features a 50 megapixel of main sensor, which has some great shots, and sometimes the shot can look a bit too contrasty, but most of the times they look actually good and natural. I have no complaints with the main sensor. And it is a common theme with nothing phones. Their main sensor is generally really good. I had no complaints with phone 2A, I had no complaints with phone 3A, and I have no complaints with phone 4A as well. By the way, this is the mic test as well, and I'm recording this on the phone 4A, so you can get an idea how the video performance on 1080p 30 fps on the main camera. And the background noise is here, so you can get an idea how the background noise cancellation is. It also features an ultra wide sensor. It's an 8 megapixel Sony ultra wide sensor, from what I know. The colors are fine, but at the end of the day, it's an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Don't expect too much from it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit disappointed that it only has 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Nothing should really focus on giving a better sensor next time around, at least a 12 megapixel sensor, so that we can record 4K on ultra wide as well, because cannot record 4K on the ultra wide sensor. We can only do it in main and telephone, so subject to consider for next video, like perhaps you can see some shots from the main sensor, from the telephoto sensor, from the ultra wide sensor, and now let's talk about the telephoto sensor, which is the main hero of this camera by far. The 3.5x telephoto. You are good. Let's zoom out a bit. Anyway, it's a 50 megapixel 3.5x telephoto sensor that has a W-shaped tetraprism setup, and the performance is really good in terms of portrait, terms of natural depth, and that shallow field of view. It looks really good, but the area where it struggles the most is by far the macro. And to compensate for that, the main sensor can capture some nice macro shots perhaps. It's not, I'd be honest, in my opinion, phone 3A Pro's macro and to an extent, phone 3's macro look better than phone 4A's macro. Definitely, in my opinion. So my suggestion to nothing is next time maybe give the baseline A series the W-shaped tetraprism, and perhaps the Pro one give that the L-shaped bigger better system actually. That's my opinion. But the cameras overall are really good. I'm really impressed with. Editor Subham here. I completely forgot that this thing has a selfie camera, so I'm gonna quickly talk about it. It has a 32 megapixel selfie camera which can record up to 1080p 60 fps. Yet again, we have been telling nothing that they should put 4K in the front camera for quite a while now. They did it with phone 3, but for some reason they couldn't quite do with phone 4 this time. Apparently, the reason is because of the processor it has, that is Snapdragon 7S Gen 4. So it kind of limits it, and you will see this pattern. The processor limits quite a bit, a lot of stuff in this phone. So yeah, it's a mid-range processor. So yeah, what can we do? Hopefully, nothing can improve this thing in the next generation as well. By the way, I'd like to give the cameras a B plus plus. It is very close to A's, but not quite there yet because of the ultra wide and the front facing camera not supporting 4K.
Talking about this phone having Snapdragon 7S Gen 4, let's talk about the performance of this in day-to-day life. It works super well. Thanks to that UFS 3.1 storage they gave us this time around, because UFS 2.2 genuinely sucks in 2026. And that's coming from a phone 2A user. Why I couldn't test any heavy games or synthetic benchmark in my phone, the Snapdragon 7S Gen 4 does handle gaming pretty well. while playing Fortnite or Clash of Clans. While Clash of Clans is not the most demanding game in the world, but Fortnite can be, and it performs really well at 30 FPS. It looks good as well. The preset was chosen for me as medium. So, and while it performed well in medium, I felt like that the phone heated a bit for me. The temperatures I recorded were 42 degrees around that. I guess that's the normal temp, but currently we are phasing out of winter and coming to the summer. So we have to really wait and see how this phone performs during the peak summer period during June and July. Yes, overall, I really like the performance of it and the Snapdragon 7S Gen 4. Why a lot of people have concerned with is a good processor, and this phone is certainly still snappy because of UFS 3.1. I can't praise UFS 3.1 enough. It is a fantastic, especially in these mid-range phones. Overall, I'd like to give the performance a B+. There are certainly better processors in this budget. If you're looking for gaming, there are A+ performance in this budget, but where it where it gains in performance, it lacks in other departments such as cameras, where this phone excels. The battery of this phone is top notch. This time they have given us a 5400 milliampere battery, bigger battery capacity, along with nothing's great optimization gives this phone a fantastic battery life. I regularly got 9 to 10 hours of battery life, which is by far the most battery life I got out of any nothing phone. The battery life is fantastic and I love the battery of it. Talking about nothing's optimization, we can't talk about nothing's optimization without talking about nothing OS. And this time around it is nothing OS 4.1. So let's quickly dive into it. But before moving on, the battery is 100% getting A plus. Beautiful battery. Great job, Nothing. The Nothing OS 4.1 this time around features a lot of new stuff such as new widgets, this breathing mindfulness widget, and the new lock screen system with the new lock screen clock being behind the foreground of an image. That feature is fantastic and we have been wanting this feature for a long time. These features are good, but what really makes Nothing OS 4.1 update great for me is that this time around the animation feels super smooth, partly because of UFS 3.1 and partly because of Nothing's optimization. This time around the animation and everything looks super good. It feels like almost that Nothing listened to our criticism about Nothing OS and sat down. No, this time around we will make Nothing OS great. And they did. The overall experience looks fantastic and I love it. And I feel like the optimization this time around is even better, and that reflects to the performance and battery of it. The battery, as I said before, I got 9 to 10 hours of battery life. That can be attributed to Nothing OS as well. So the community widget things are fantastic. I love this widget from Abhishek Lakhney. This widget is fantastic. This whole community widgets thing is fantastic. This whole essential apps and community widgets things are fantastic, and I like where Nothing OS is going overall. It is not like AI is pushing. They are pushing AI down our throats. It's not like that. Even the gallery feature it has provided to us, like the different watermarks and such, being able to remove people and objects from the background, everything like that, they work super well and it adds to the whole experience. So I love the experience this time around. I did face some bugs, but those were beta builds, and we know beta builds has bugs. The stable build so far has no bugs for me, and it works really well. Overall, I really like the experience. I'd like to give it an A. Overall, I really like the offering they gave us with this phone this time around. There are certainly stuff to improve, such as the ultra wide camera still being 8 megapixel that I talked about in the camera section, transfer speed still being UFS 2.0. But USB 2.0 is frankly everywhere in this budget, and that's a nitpick from me. So I'll not hold it against this phone. I hope they can improve this phone in the near future. But I hope they can improve the ultra wide next time around in nothing phone 5A perhaps, I don't know. But what we got with this phone overall is fantastic. I overall love this package, from the design, the display, the battery, the cameras, everything was fantastic. As a last rating, I'd like to give it this phone A. It was that fantastic. Loved it. And if you ask me, the phone 4A in this price range that is being shown in the screen right now is a good offering. Like, sure, you can go for better performance and better stuff, but overall package they have given this time around is good. It feels like that I'm glazing this phone, but what can I tell? This phone is fantastic. Did I say this phone is fantastic? Sorry. Anyway, well, that's the end of this video. I hope you like this concept this time around. It took forever for me to record, edit, and upload this thing, and I hope I hope you guys like this video. A lot of effort went to this, and yeah, if you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time around. Bye.